that, getting hit multiple times. Coming out of that bike section, more drivers coming to blows.
Greetings, race fans, and welcome back to the inaugural season of Sim Racers Group Formula 3 Racing on SMB. JR Gregory here with you on the call. Beside me in the commentary booth, my partner Charles Boshell, and tonight's producer, pushing your buttons and twiddling your knobs, the great Mike Braun. And 2025 Season 3 has reached its halfway point, and to start the second half of this inaugural season, our F3 Warriors will head to the Netherlands to take on Zandvoort. This track is nestled in the dunes on the shores of the North Sea up in the Netherlands. The first street race here held back in 1939. The permanent racetrack was not constructed until after World War II, interestingly using communication roads built by the occupying German army. The first Grand Prix at the site, 1948. And as you gearheads will know, this track recently updated for the return of Formula One, and we got a new scan of that updated track here for iRacing that we're running on tonight. Our current configuration, 2.6 miles, 14 corners. The current track record set by Sir Lewis Hamilton, 1:11.097 back in 2021. And Charles, I absolutely love this track because it reminds me of learning about high performance driving on the back roads of north central Florida. Kind of has the feel of public twisty roads that kids, you should never do. But I used to really enjoy driving on, and these F3 cars ought to thrive out here. So what are you looking for out of these guys tonight?
Yeah, JR, it's this new scan of Zandvoort is absolutely fantastic. I agree with you. It's a great track to drive and hot lap. A little more difficult to race, but let's talk about tonight's keys to the race. So you want to get in your rhythm very quickly here. This is absolutely a rhythm track. You want to find that, and you want to get up to top speed as quickly as you can. Secondly, debris is there's going to be debris all over the track. There's so many gravel traps as you see here. The chicane there at turns 11 and 12 is going to have. There's going to be more gravel on the track than in the trap before it's all said and done, and that's going to affect your braking and your cornering through certain corners. You've got to be very careful. And then finally, you want to get that smooth corner exit. You want to maximize the draft. Obviously, the first thing you think about is that banked final corner, which is corner number 14 that takes you down the front straight. But if you get a good run out of 3 in that high banked corner in turn 3, you're going to get a nice run down those sweepers, which are almost flat out in these cars through 4, 5, 6, and 7. And it's just going to be a blast, and you're going to have fun. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be a fantastic race, JR. And welcome back. Proudly sat in your seat last week and really experienced what it's like to fail so miserably at something that should be so easy. So welcome back.
Yeah, and thanks so much for the coverage. I watched the show. You guys sounded fantastic, and it was a really good outing last week. But yeah, this one is going to be good. These cars are going to be very well suited to the conditions here at Zandvoort. And every now and then, Charles, we talk about tires, and at this track, it seems like there's a little pre-race bet that goes on. What's going to be worse, the fronts or rears? And then in this track, my money is on the fronts. There's a few long grinding corners that are going to really take their toll on the fronts. And in the 25-minute race that is the feature of tonight's broadcast, I think we are likely to see fronts going off, cars washing out on entry, and that's what is really going to separate the wheat from the chaff. The folks who took care of those fronts for the first, 15 or 20 minutes of the race, they'll start to go off with about 5 or 10 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the fronts are going to kind of take the brunt of it tonight. So many of these corners have, obviously turn 3 and then turn 14 are just pretty apparent how much camber they contain. But that whole section between 3 and 7 is pretty much camber corners. And so you can really push the car, and that is going to affect the tires as you're really trying to lean on them, and you're going to end up maybe wearing those fronts out a little bit. So I kind of agree with you. I think it's going to be a little more dramatic on the fronts than the rears tonight.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we got a good camera on turn 3. A little bird tells me that these F3 cars are going to be taking that high Formula 1 line through there, but there are a million lines through turn 3, and if you're feeling really racy, you might be able to stick it down low against a competitor who's going high. They're going to ride with the silver right now, and there he is. Yep, taking that F1 high line, staying away from the inside curb, but that can create some opportunity, especially in traffic. So going to be looking for some action there as our practice session winds down. We got Case predictably up top from Green, from Gregory, from Eggert, from Poborgi. So our frequent flyers are populating the top 5 for sure. About 2 minutes remaining in this session, then we'll go into a 15-minute open qualifier. But before we get to that, I think we got some point standings for you. As I said, we're about halfway through, so we got 6 weeks worth of races under our belt here, and 6 to go. And there are your overall individual standings. And Case got a pretty good grip up top, but I don't think he's untouchable at this point, Charles. It's Case from Gregory, from Eggert, Green, and Poborgi, your top 5. And just glancing over my list, Case absolutely dominating the podiums. 5 of 6 races has been podiums for Case. Gregory has picked up 4, and Green has picked up 3. And there they all are at the top. And as we scroll down, there is the rest of our field. Lot of participants, a lot of cars out here tonight. We're probably going to grid about 23 cars. But as you can see here, so far in this halfway through the season, we've had 30-plus cars who have scored points. And we'll go ahead and jump forward to the team results, sorry. And we got Case and K up top. That is Case and Dylan with a stranglehold on P1. The vibes-based racing team is Poborgi and Conway sitting in P2. Then Hubie SRG 6 is Mikovits and Duvall. The green Posada team, I should make you guess here, but I'm going to go ahead and let you know that that is green and Posada on that team. And then Avavoom is there in P5. That is Vicroy and Neil Dev, and there are the rest of your team points. But that's kind of a fun thing, Charles, to throw in to the proceedings here. We kind of added that after a couple races for these F3 guys, and kind of add something else to brag about and add some extra motivation to help your partner do well. Uh-oh, you guys copy me? Did we lose Charles? Mike copies me. There's Charles.
There we go. Hey, so yeah, it's a fun. I think it's a fun championship, the team's competition. But still, it's bragging rights, right? So you can come in and say, well, we might have only finished 4th and 7th, but we end up winning the teams because we were consistent, which is always kind of cool. It's a little bit of little argy-bargy there coming out of the pits. And I'm going to say I'm kind of glad that we're not really having to worry about pit stop tonight with only a 25-minute race. The pit entry and exit here is a bit tricky. Hopefully we shouldn't see too many cars having to work their way through the pits.
That pit entry. I'm not going to name any names, but his initials are JRG. Once totaled a GT3 car just trying to do a pit stop here. So, yeah, these guys are off the hook on that one. And I'm going to also share with you that our slow motion broadcasting colleague, Racing Ron Mons, was out here earlier today. I did not get laps in, but he did. And he was not super complimentary of this fixed setup. He says it's a little pushy, so that's going to even add to our bet that those front tires are going to have problems this morning. But here we go. Charles, qualifying underway. It is open qualifying, which I sing the praises for every week. I love the strategy that it adds, and that's what happens at the real track. So here we go. Our first group of cars getting ready to come out of that beautiful banked Lyondike corner for the first time on their out lap, and here come the first heaters. And of course, we're going to keep an eye on Stephen Case, see how he does. And here's Vicroy, that difficult turn 1. And folks, there could be some F3 body panels there off the start. Starts here can be very rough, and here we go into that turn 3. Vicroy is going to keep it high here, and this is the part that I love. This reminds me of a road behind my parents' house. I'm not going to say where, but man, oh man, running the car through the gears. You stand on the side of the road. You can see the ocean if you look carefully out there to the left. This section really fun as well. This is a great corner right here, Charles, to get right all the way out to the outside, get it woed up and try to trail brake in through here. And this I think is one of the toughest corners on the track right here. Massive discipline on the throttle, and we're going to see some spins right there for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's one of the few corners that's pretty much as far as it's just flat cambered. There's no help from the track layout itself. And I've noticed a little bit during practice that these the cars were having a little bit of issue with the solid white curbs as they were working these outside edge curbs and not the red and white striped ones. They look like that, they were having to be a little bit tender on that throttle pedal when they were coming out of the corner. But just want to spin the cars a little bit. So I saw several cars that kind of fell victim to that. So that might be another little thing that we'll have to watch tonight. But yeah, it's just, fantastic racetrack. And as we said, I think I did see as we were on board there with Vicroy, somebody was trying to look for the ocean and kind of just drove it straight into the wall through the gravel trap on the outside. So it's, we're underway here. I think you want to, if you're trying to use the draft in this open quali to get a little bit of extra speed out of it, a couple more tenths, you probably want to be about a second, 1.2 behind the car in front, and just use that car to help pull you around the track and see if that buys you a couple of tenths and maybe picks you up a couple positions for quality.
Yeah, the draft is definitely going to be playing a role here in qualifying, and certainly during the race qualifying times coming in now. Right now, it's Case from Viceroy, from Green, from Poborshi, from Eggert, and you probably could have closed your eyes and written that down without any numbers in front of you. Now, Jason Green has jumped up in there as well, and Case tickling the 127s. I'm sure we're going to break into the 127s before this qualifying session is over. And so far, yeah, it looks like I've got 6 cars within about 1 second. And as the times keep coming in, I think we're going to have a pretty competitive field here tonight, Charles. These drivers and these cars have put on such a great show for the first 6 races, and really looking forward to the second half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've already jumped down into the low 127. So Green with a 27.395 and Viceroy with a 27.5. So already cut another half second off of the time that Case ran a couple of laps ago. And so it looks like he came into the pits, maybe get a fresh set of tires and go back out and see if he can set a fast lap. Oh, there's a little bit of trouble there, as I had a car that was kind of offline and maybe picked the wrong corner there from Jason Green. Maybe picked the wrong line to do the avoid and maybe jumped over into the grass a little bit. But it looks like the car's okay. But it definitely ruined his lap, so he's going to have to kind of reset and start again.
Interesting that Case is in already. I can't imagine he did more than 1, maybe 2 time lapse there. So he may have had an incident there, but that we missed. But Case back out there right now. It is Green from Viceroy, from Case, from Poborji, from De Silva, and Strike That Mikovits has jumped up into P3. Green's got about a 0.2 gap back to Viceroy and about another 0.7. 0.7 total rather back to Mikovits, but certainly look for Case to push his way further up that list.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He'll be up near the top, I think, by the time everything's said and done. As usual, it looked like he had some pretty good practice time, so I don't think he's gonna, unless he just makes a mistake, which is always possible. And then it's always possible to do exactly what happened to Green, is just get behind the car and just lose too much time trying to work your way through. And that happens a lot in open qualifying, and it's just kind of one of those things you kind of have to deal with.
Yeah, taking a look at Snyder now in that sexy Lego car, taking the high line around turn 3. It looks like he was able to make something happen with the draft there. That lap bumped him way up the standings, and that's one of the things we talk about, Charles, these draft heavy tracks. If you get lucky, you might end up unlucky, qualifying over your head and driving the first couple laps in your mirrors. And we may have seen a little bit of that right there. And the top still shuffling a little bit. Just saw Varun Bali jump up quite a bit, but up top it is still Green from Viceroy, from Mikovits, from Case, from Poborji, and still have not seen a timed lap from Case yet since that pit stop, I don't believe, but we'll certainly keep an eye on him.
Yeah, he should be on his flyer now. I'm just kind of looking at the timing and scoring. I want to kind of see what Viceroy's up to. He's out there on the same set of tires, so want to see what the drop-off is here during qualifying, as they're trying to just get some fast laps and see if we're seeing anything. And that was there you go, 127.3 up at the top of the board for Viceroy. So tires haven't fallen off yet. He's able to have a hot lap, cool down lap, and then do another hot lap and still improve his time.
And here comes Case approaching start finish now. See if he was able to make something happen. And nothing that time. No improvement. That a 131 may have hit traffic or had a little bobble there. So these tires kind of seem to have a sweet spot 2 or 3 laps in. So whatever Case is got planned, probably needs to execute it on this lap or next. Currently sitting in P6, about 7/10 off of Viceroy, who has now moved into the pole, the 127.3. And guess it's conceivable. I don't think I would bet on a 126, but we may get a lot closer to that 127 flat before this one's over.
Yeah, I think we'll probably have a couple of tenths come off of that time. And so Case, I think we've got 7 minutes and change left. So really only about 4 more laps before qualifying's over. Obviously we've got the quality overtime So as long as you get to the start finish line before the clock hits 0, you can finish the lap that you're on. As you can see there,
Ooh.
some slide by Case just got caught up in traffic, and he was just behind that Lego car, and then just kind of taps the wall. I think he's going to have to end up towing that back and getting himself a fresh car and resetting that and trying again. But obviously, he's running out of time, so we've only got about 6.5 minutes left. So he's going to have to get on the ball.
Yeah, Case's quality imploding before our very eyes. That was the lap that he needed to make something happen. He did make something happen, but not what he wanted. A little smooch against the wall, and he may be back in the pits. I see Velasco in the pits right now. He may be trying a new set of tires. Just saw Christopher Eggert jump up into P4. And now it looks like I've got about 11 cars within 1 second, trailing Vicroy's 127.3, and Jason Green just 700ths behind him. And Green, as I said, has had a lot of success in the first half of the season, and he is always a threat to pick up a victory, having scored 3 podiums, and looks like hasn't quite made it to the top step, but he's been hanging around, Charles.
Yeah, he has. He's always been up in the top 5, I think, pretty much every race, and maybe with the exception of one, maybe he got crashed out during one event, but otherwise, yeah, he's always been up there challenging. But obviously, Stephen Case has had the measure of the field so far. But we've seen, like I said, as every week the field tightens up. The drivers that are in the back that are maybe a little less experienced are starting to get a little more comfortable in the car, and with the drivers that are around them. And they're consistently making progress, and so it's a bigger battle week in and week out, and that's what I'm really enjoying about this series.
Yeah, too right, Charles, and we should probably mention that this is a rung on the ladder over at Sim Racers Group. All these drivers competed last season in Formula 4 cars. So this is a step up into these F3 cars, pretty similar in weight, but 100 extra horsepower, and I think significantly more aero and maybe a little bit more tire under these things as well. So definitely a handful to get used to these things. The F4 cars, you kind of wanted to avoid sliding around too much, and these F3 cars, you can just kind of ride some pretty significant slip angle through a lot of these corners, and that takes some getting used to. I see a purple sector from Case there. Doesn't help him though. His last time lap about 3 seconds off his fast lap of 128, more or less flat, and that 7/10 out of pole still. And I think track position could be pretty important here, Charles, and I know that Case wants to improve in the remaining 3:15.
Yeah, there's going to be some section here that it's going to be very difficult to make a pass. Obviously, as we're on board here, we're coming around through 7 and 8 with Case. There's them, like I said, there's some places that, when you get through 3, 4, 5, and 6, it's the ability to pass, because it's such a fast section and it's sweeping around and it's fairly tight, to be fair. Just not a good place. But when you get to the back half of this with the chicane, track's a little wider. You've got these kind of cambered corners that are going to make life a little bit easier for you, but you got to get through here first. This is going to be a trouble spot, I think, tonight. And it's going to be, there'll be some potential for passing here. If nothing else, you can get a good run on a car and set them up to get through this final corner and get the run down the straightaway.
Yeah, that 11-12 combo that you just saw Case go through, very tough spot on this track. And Charles, you called it, the debris is already all over the place down in that area. And did Case move up? Yeah, it takes a big bite out. That's a 127.5, putting him in P3. He's got about 2/10 to get past Green and probably 2 more laps to do it. So stay with Case a little bit longer here. And see if he can do that. He's got a car ahead, not sure who that is, 45. So that is going to be Bali. And actually, if Case can close down on Bali in the time remaining, he may have this lined up pretty good for a tow, or maybe it's not going to work out that way at all. So with about 90 seconds remaining, these drivers are going to putting in their last efforts here. I see Vicroy in the pits. He may have parked it, comfortable with that 127.3. Green still out there with less than a tenth to get past Viceroy and Case, who we were looking at earlier, about 2/10. Velasco is up there about 4,500 back. Eggert in P6 about 5,600 back. So any of these guys could get a little bump. As we say, the draft giveth, the draft taketh away. There is an element of luck to it. And oftentimes, Charles, these last laps on these F3 races, people really uncork it and pull out some surprising heaters. So we'll see what happens down the stretch.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, this will be for this group right here. Their last lap, the last flyer they're going to be able to have. Velasco, we're on board with him sitting in P4, only under a half second from pole, so it's a good starting position for him. And now he's got looks like it might be a little slower car in front of him, holding him up just a bit as they're working their way through 2 and 3. And looks like the car in front took the low line and maybe took too much of a low line as Velasco makes his way through. And we've got the top 11 within a second of pole. So that's going to make those early laps pretty exciting, as all those cars are just kind of tucked together in draft range of each other. And that's going to make that first, like I said, the first 2 or 3 laps pretty intense, as cars are moving around and getting that overspeed on those first few laps. And we'll see if everybody makes it through, and we can get a nice clean race, as it has been for the most part for the entire season. We haven't had really any major catastrophes. We've had a few incidents, but nothing where it's like half the field stacking up in a corner. So it's been a very, very clean but aggressive racing series thus far.
Yeah, we really have seen some high quality racing, and that's just one of the benefits of being in a league environment. You drive with the same folks over and over again. You get to know each other's tendencies, learn to drive with respect with one another. And Sim Racers Group has the added benefit of having a brick and mortar facility with 10 sim rigs in San Jose, California, where these guys get together in the same room and actually have to get up out of that rig and potentially look each other in the eye after a bad move. So that might help tidy up the racing a little bit. But you're absolutely right, Charles. We have seen some very, very good competitive racing out of these guys, and really looking forward to this track and the remaining 5 after. It's just been getting continually better as the season has unfolded.
Yeah, absolutely has. It's been really fun to watch, and the brick and mortar that's if you intentionally or unintentionally wreck somebody during one of these races, I can imagine somebody over your shoulder saying, "You owe me a beer for that." So sometimes that's the quickest way to just kind of smooth things over. But yeah, that is kind of a fun aspect of this series, is you've got 10 drivers sitting in the same room together as they're racing on the track at the same time. So that's a very, very fun concept, and it's good to have that as part of the series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually heading down there in the fall to drive an enduro down there. So stay tuned for that. That should be interesting. I'm looking forward to meeting all these folks in person and checking out the facility down there in just a few weeks' time. So that is going to be a hoot. And qualifying is now complete. And we'll let iRacing gods reset the universe here, and we'll have your starting grid for you in just a moment. And there we go. It is Viceroy. Viceroy hangs on. Pretty good threat from Green and Case behind. Look at Case. Did put down a heater at the end and came within a whisker of pole, but didn't quite get past Viceroy. So it's Viceroy from Green from Case. Velasco from Eggert is your top 5. Then it's Mikovits, Pavorji, De Silva, Snyder, and Varun Bali rounding out the top 10. Then it'll be Joshua Corwin lined up next to Conway in row 6. Labivi will line up next to Lopez. Cotcher next to Navas. Then Dylan next to Adam Duvall. That's row 9. Cardenas next to Ganesh. Hagen next to Wong. Then it's Day next to Trantham. Brashear next to Diego Posada, and bringing up the rear. Actually, Brashear, Posada, and Glasser, no quali. They might have just been out for practice, so we may be gridding 24 cars ending with Trantham, and that will become clear in a second. Yeah, I think that is the case. So 24 cars out. Looks like we got about 45 seconds before iRacing forces the start here. So any final thoughts here, Charles, as we cross our fingers and hold our breath, preparing for that careen the first time down into turn one.
Yeah, it's it's turn one here is really tricky, and so you throw in the cold tires and the cold brakes. It's going to make that a little more tricky. But I think these drivers have done a really good job on the starts during this season, so should be pretty clean for the most part. We'll just see how we get through the first lap or so.
Yeah, and part of the fun, multiple viable lines through turn one. So I'm fully expecting a majority of the field is going to go through there side by side. And hopefully, as I said, we'll keep it clean. We have seen some yard sales break out there in turn one, especially off of standing starts here on cold tires. So cross your fingers, folks. And we are underway. And Viceroy, a little stutter off the start here. It looks like Green is going to get ahead, and Case sniffing around inside. It's Green from Viceroy from Case. Case thought about it there, but took a breath, and everybody else pretty stable. Velasco, Eggert, Poborji has gotten past Mikovits. De Silva, Ball has gotten past Snyder. So a few of those cars lined up next to each other on the grid have changed positions off of that start and that difficult entry into turn one. But good news, no smoke, no body parts, and looks like we got a clean start. And was that Jason Green? That was a big cut, and that is going to be a slowdown, folks. So we'll keep an eye on Green and see if he's able to burn that without losing that position to Velasco and Case, who are right behind him.
I don't know. He made a really good. He took that high line through three. The first lap was able to get up to the front, but I saw him do that during qualifying as well. I don't necessarily know that that's going to be a slowdown. He took that line on a couple of laps, a couple of occasions. I saw him jump that curb through that set of corners, and so far it doesn't look like he's had any ill effects from it. I will say that it was Joshua Corwin got a really bad start. Really just kind of held up that outside line there at the beginning and lost 4 positions. Has made one back up, but had a very slow start, kind of stacked up that outside line.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we will spin up another replay of that. That F3 car was 4 wheels off the ground, no doubt. And I thought for sure a slowdown, but maybe not. And there is some action that we're going to be seeing into turn one all night, Charles, as cars will try to cover the inside. The track is very wide there. If you force the guy in front of you into a deep defensive block, you can go back out and get a much better entry, as we saw a car do there. But up front, it is still Green from Viceroy, from Case, from Velasco, from Eggert. And here it comes. I'm not sure if we're going to see it right here.
Snyder.
Oh, yeah, a little over rotation there by Snyder. And good avoids by the cars following, and good job by him holding the brakes, getting out of the way, and not making that worse. And it looks like Christopher Wong has found his way off into the kitty litter, and that is going to dump him all the way to the back of the grid. And it's quite a bit of shuffling. We've had some people with problems. Snyder's down 10. Lloyd Conway down 10 positions as well. And oh my goodness, speaking of yard sales, and that car has lost a handful of parts. Oh, and is that Conway? Oh my goodness! After enjoying a spectacular outing last night at Laguna Seca in the F4, Conway going to be heading in for body parts, and that is not how he wanted this one to go. Only on lap 3.
Yeah, and it was that white outside exit curb that's what got him. Just as he got back on the throttle, the rear just stepped out and around he went, and contact made from the car behind. Could not see who that was, but obviously kind of put him into a flat spin and shedded parts in the process. So tough start for Conway for sure.
My goodness, and look at these top 3 drive off. Charles Green, Viceroy, and Case have dumped Velasco to the tune of about 2.5 seconds. And we do see this at the pointy end of this grid. We've got some serious talent in this F3 field, and they are taking off. And I'll tell you, Green is really wanting to put a gap behind. He's got that gap stretched to 1.1 now. And if he can maintain that through the rest of the interior part of this circuit, he's going to be sitting pretty down the back straight. And Viceroy, no such luck, though. Case all over him like the plastic on Grandma's couch.
Yeah, absolutely. Case is really starting to harass Vic Roy as you see Jason doing his best to try and pull away. I think the cars behind have figured out that little cut that Green's been making. They followed him through there at that time, so obviously that helped him probably with a tenth or so on the laps previous to that. As we see Case going wide out of that corner, out of 13. And then around through 14 is going to get that good run down here, get the slipstream headed down the front straight, and see if that's going to help these guys make up a little bit of time to Green.
Yeah, and Case was in a pretty good position there, and I liked his chances on the straight, but you saw him wash out into the kitty litter right here, and that is one thing about this track. Charles Zandvoort can rack up those little 1Xs for those little offs. There are penalties. There could be a drive-through if you rack up too many of them. I don't have the number in front of me, but something to keep an eye on if these drivers are playing quick and loose with these track limits. It can bite them hard in a 25-minute race. A drive-through is a race ender.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're on here with Mikovits, Poborji, and Da Silva, and Mikovits is kind of holding these guys up a little bit. Poborji had a really good run coming through that section of corners, and was just, I mean, basically right on the back of the car, almost bump drafted him down down through those sweepers. And Mikovits just kind of pulled out a little bit just to try and give himself a little bit of breathing room. But Poborji will be back on him here when they get back to the straight with no time flat.
Yeah, Poborji looking very racy here, and he has come to party for sure all over Mikovits. And here we see a nice side-by-side entry. It's a 13 on the inside. Oh, my goodness. A little bump there. And who was that? I don't see a 13. That was Duvall, I guess, is that Duvall and Corwin coming together there? Just a little switch. Here is another look. Duvall definitely has position here. And Corwin may have turned in on him a little bit, and Corwin is going to spin off into the dirt, and we're going to see a lot of those side-by-side contested entries into turn one. Charles, it is the nature of Zandvoort, the nature of the draft. And one more little look, doink, there goes Corwin into the grass. Doesn't lose a lot of positions, doesn't look like he picked up any damage, but tough to have a nice side-by-side battle end in that way.
Yeah, we see Ganesh there, and that's, there's the 11-12 chicane. More gravel being put across the track. If you're running into one and you leave that inside line open, somebody will try and put themselves in there, and that's exactly what happened. And you're committed at that point. You got to stay on that outside line and work it all the way around. You can carry more speed out there. Obviously, it's a longer way around, but you can't just you can't chop somebody's nose off at that point. And Duvall, obviously, that was Corwin and the other car, who I've forgotten now. But either way, it was Duvall, and Duvall had the position, and I saw the wheel-to-wheel contact, and then that cost Corwin several positions and lots of time.
That's some nice dicing here. That is Duvall versus Snyder. Little side-by-side action will pop up to Eggert following Velasco through that final bank corner onto the front straight, and see if Eggert has a run here. You see Velasco moving inside to try to break the draft, and looks like Eggert is going to take a breath here. That sweet Valvoline classic IndyCar delivery there. Going to take a breath and wait for the next lap. But, why wouldn't he? Right now, he's sitting pretty good in P5, only 7 minutes in. So Eggert biding his time here. You see him try out that inside line. And that was a great camera shot that really illustrated the speed that you can get staying high right there. And if you've watched an F1 race there, you see that's what all the big boys do.
It is pretty much what all the big boys do. I did see Fernando Alonso stick it down on the inside and made a nice pass. I think the first year when Zandvoort came back with this configuration. But I think most people figured that trick out pretty quick, and that was the one and only time somebody managed to get away with it we ever saw. So, yeah, the high line is the fast line through there. It's just like if you're running a NASCAR race. The higher up you stay on the track, the more speed you carry through the corner, and there's that white curb again. That's Hagen going into the inside wall, losing his nose, and that's going to be a tow back to the pits. And that curb's caught a lot of people out tonight already.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, in the best, and the Lego car pops in there right behind him. Something happened to that car. We saw him show up in the pits with no nose right after we saw Hagen take that toe. Not sure what happened to Snyder, but something did. Stay with him here just for a second, and whoop! Same thing, over rotation and into the inside wall. And I'll tell you, Charles, on the best of days, you got to be pretty careful with the throttle on these F3 cars. And as you pointed out, that high curbing is not doing these things any favor in terms of grip.
No, it's really not. As we see Day loop it and spin it around, no contact made, can continue on. But it's just one of those. We're going to get another look here. This is Stephen Case making the move on Viceroy to take over P2, moves to the inside and gets that pass done before they get through the corner. Viceroy looked like he wanted to try and get a run coming out of there, but I think Case kind of closed that off at the apex and is able to hold on to that P2 position.
Yeah, great racecraft there by Case. You saw him pop out very quickly and not really give Viceroy a chance to move over and cover. And so now it's green from Case from Viceroy, and Case with his sights on green. Watch that interval dropping, and he's already got it down to 0.8. And it's only a matter of time now. I would not want to be Jason Green driving in my mirrors right now. 15 minutes remaining here with Stephen Case behind. And at this point, Charles, you got to kind of take a breath, think about what you're doing, think about how your front tires are going to survive this, and maybe bide your time before doing a lot of fighting at this point in the race.
Yeah, I think he's in a good position. He's within draft range. He's less than a second off of the lead. No sense in panicking with 15 minutes left to go. So he can just continue to ride around and just kind of ride behind green and wait for the opportunity, and that will come soon enough. As we're on here with Jason Cotcher, the captain is out here running, looking to make a move on Novice. He's running in 13th, and he's a little sketchy there going into 3. Carried a lot of speed, managed to get the car caught, and got a good run out of the corner, though, to make up quite a bit of gap on Novice as they're working their way through 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it looks like he almost had a chance to look to the inside there, and I think wisely backed out, just not quite close enough to make that stick yet. But he's in a good position here to take that position sooner rather than later, I believe. Is really starting to give Novice a lot of headache riding behind him that close.
Yeah, didn't you want to see Cotcher stuff it down the inside right there, though, Charles? An uncommon move, but absolutely doable. But you definitely have to be brave on the brakes, and the car being overtaken has to be aware of what's going on, not turn down on you. But Cotcher definitely had a crack at that one. Novice driving in his rearview mirrors. Oh my goodness, almost a little contact there. I thought I saw Cotcher's wing deflecting a little bit, and Novice has said no mas and let Cotcher through, and that is good for P12 for Jason. And now looking at a 5-second gap ahead to Bali running in 11.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's got a little bit of work to do to get up to the next car, but he does have a car, lap down car in front. He'll be able to get a draft on. That'll help him. You see, there's green with that cut again. And Case said, "No, I don't want any part of that right now." So Green still making the most of the expanded track limits. Apparently, it's not really costing him any time. It's and there's no slowdown apparently there. So Green finding opportunity where it's available.
Yeah, and seeing it from that angle, I guess I did know about that, and it's interesting that that Green is taking that path, Case is avoiding it, and you don't really see Green gaining a lot of time from that. So it might be all he's gaining is the fun and drama of how it looks on the broadcast. He may not be getting any time out of it. And look at Case. He's cranked that interval all the way down to 0.3, under 0.3 now. And we'll see what kind of a run Case is going to get out of this final corner. Oh, man. I love hitting that bank corner. You kind of want to let the car go outside, but it's faster to keep it tight, as you saw Case there. And look at that draft go to work. And look at that gap drop. Case is going to try the outside. If he can hang in, he'll have the inside entry to the next corner. And there we go. Stephen Case has made it stick. Oh, yeah, Green not giving up, though, poking his nose around. But Case stuffs it through, and it is now Case from Green from Viceroy. So Case, our championship leader, has kind of fought back from a rough qualifying and put himself in P1 with about 12 minutes remaining.
Yeah, in case I was watching, because I was waiting on that. I was waiting on that cut by Green, but Case did a good job of basically centering his car and not allowing Green to get that run through there that time. And so Green just basically had to hang it to the outside and take the normal line through the corner. So great defensive driving by Case, as well as the attacking that he did through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, Case definitely very solid, cool, calm, and collected. Very good racecraft. I think he's sitting a little over 3K in open wheel iRating, if I'm not mistaken. And look at the way that gap is growing. The last time we were through here, it was Case behind Jason Green by about 3/10, and now we're approaching 8/10. So a 1 second swing in one lap as Stephen Case takes a breath, cracks his knuckles, and prepares to drive away. And meanwhile, more trouble for Green. Here comes Viceroy. He's going to peek, down the inside. Oh, holy moly. And so sorry, just lost my mind there just for a second. But Viceroy playing chicken and winning that one on the brakes. Oh, and a little bit of hargy-bargy in turn 3, and Green is going to get away this time. But this one is not over, Charles.
No, it's not. You have a little bit of wheel contact there between the two cars coming through 3. So you're going to get an onboard from behind Jason Green's car as they're coming down through, and you'll see that little bit, maybe even net code. There was just rear wheels touching or net coding together, and just kind of, obviously broke the rear end loose on Viceroy's car. He caught it quite easily, but cost him enough time that Green was able to get back out in front.
Yeah, and plenty of time left here. Probably the greatest damage from that whole interaction was potentially rear tires from Viceroy having to catch that slide. Takes a little bit for them to bounce back. And meanwhile, here is a little train that is formed up behind Eggert. That's Eggert from Velasco, from Mikovits, from Poborgi. And amazingly, Poborgi has not gotten past Mikovits yet, was all over him for a couple of laps there. And right now, about 3/10 up ahead, but still maintaining that position. It looks like we're going to have a pretty good race down the stretch here for P4 among some pretty quick and pretty experienced drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go back to that Green Vicar. I think the worst thing that happened during that battle was Stephen Case was able to get out to a 1.9 second lead. I think that was what really is going to hurt those guys. It's great to battle for P2, but when you've got P1 right there in your sights, sometimes it's better to just kind of lay back and wait a little bit longer to see if you can get back up there and make that a 3-car battle up in the front. As we see, it's like a car. As we see Jason Green here working his way around. I think this is through. Oh no! And there's the contact between him and Viceroy, and that was through 2 and then into the 3, and obviously that will extend Stephen Case's lead significantly as we're on board here now with Neil Day getting another replay as they're working their way through 1. And I think that was the inside curb there for the pit line separator curb that caught Day out there and just kind of looped the car around. So now the gap up from Case to Viceroy is now 7 seconds.
Wow, and that double spin there, very painful for everybody except Case, and this is going to turn into a track day for him in a hurry. That interval already over 7 seconds, as Charles said, and now our little train for P3 now is Eggert from Velasco, from Mikovits, from Poborgi, and it looks like about 2 seconds covering all 4 of those cars. So that is probably going to be where the drama is going to be down the stretch for this one. Looks like there's another train behind P8. Lebivi's got Lopez and Bali with about a second covering those 2 cars. And here is a little move. That is Mikovits down the inside of Velasco trying to get away that P4. And we see this over and over again, side by side, through turn 1, through turn 2. And will they come to blows in turn 3? Oh my goodness, you see Mikovits dragging that inside front tire there into turn 3. Probably cause him to clench up a little bit, lose a little bit of exit speed. And Poborgi says, all right, cool, here I come. Come on, stick it down in there. Oh, I really want somebody to stuff it down the inside right there. I haven't seen it yet, but if I keep sending the vibe, maybe it'll happen. But Poborgi looking racy as always, and Mikovits somehow has held him off for 18 straight minutes here. And wonder if that's going to be sustainable down the stretch, Charles.
I don't know. Obviously, we talk about the lockups on the fronts, and it just seems like that once you start that little series of lockups, it just becomes progressively worse. And it's obviously the pressure. Paborgi will continue to put the pressure on Mikovic from behind, and try and force him into another mistake like that. And the next time may be detrimental to Mikovic, to the point that that Paborgi can get around. But they are still trying to track down Velasco, so they don't want to get into too much too soon. They want to be able to get up there and make this a battle for fourth place as opposed to fifth.
Yeah, and kids at home, don't forget, if you start dragging your inside front, these fixed setup races do allow brake bias adjustment. So make sure that you've got a dial on your wheel and play around with that a little bit. It can make a huge difference and can save your race when you start having problems with your fronts. As we watch Eggert still leading that train. That's Eggert, Velasco, Mikovic, and Paborgi still about a little over 2 seconds between all four of those cars in a battle for P3. And up front, of course, it is still Case with about 7 seconds back to Vickeroy, and Vickeroy has about 4.5 back to Eggert. So P1 and 2, if they can just stay chill here, are in pretty good shape with 5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I think those battles, like you said, unless something weird happens. I did see. As we see it. Oh no!
Right there, Eggert.
Oh, Eggert getting wide there, coming through the corner, and Velasco just had to check up just to avoid contact with him, or that would have been his position as they worked their way through 11 and 12. And Velasco still on it and took that inside line, is now side by side going through 13.
Yeah, and Velasco a little tentative there. Looks like he's going to sneak around Eggert here on that bank corner onto the pit straight. But yeah, maybe he got freaked out a little bit and felt like he needed to go evasive. And watch Mikovic now. He's going to take advantage of the draft. He's going to be at the lead of this train into turn 1. Can he hold on into turn 2 and 3? Mikovic, the window of opportunity open, and Mikovic slams it through. And special bonus, he ditched Paborgi as well. Now has Velasco between him and Danush. So Mikovic up into P3 with a stellar move, maybe the move of the race. And he's feeling good about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was sitting there battling for P7, and the next thing you know, he's up there running in up in third. So great job to just take that draft and carry it all the way down on the outside and just hang on to it through 1 and 2, and managed to get out in front coming out of 3, and has got that position locked. Oh, as we see Duval, that outside curve there. I've done that a few times with the GT4. It's not fun. It's like the outs to the right, the left rear tire gets in the gravel, and the next thing you know, you're slamming into the inside wall.
Ooh, lucky turn number 13, that inside wall there, a magnet for those multicolored cars. That same barrier ate the Lego car a while back, and whoop, a little bit of sideways boogie. That was Eggert back in the back, and his tire is not getting any better as he is going to fall back into the grasp of De Silva here before too much longer. Mike's going to Magic Michael back that up for us a little bit so that we can see Eggert with that Tokyo drift. Yeah. Whoop! Hangs that rear end out, and look at Paborgi right there. I mean, he must be thinking that he missed the bus there as Mikovic drove away from him on the straight and picked up 3 positions there in one straight, leaving Paborgi behind.
Yeah, he just, right place at right time for Mikovic, and he made the most of it. And so now Paborgi at P5, so he has picked up a position. So he has got past Eggert. And now De Silva with a little bobble by Eggert. De Silva is now closing that gap down. So he's going to try and get involved in this as well and see if he can grab that spot away from Eggert before the end of the race. I saw smoke somewhere in front of that. I don't know who it was. It might have been Bali. I think I just saw him off the track. So it might have been Bali that maybe missed a corner somewhere. And so we'll see. I think that was the right car. I don't know if we'll get a replay or not, but yeah, definitely looks like he's struggling just a bit as he's got Justin Snyder as a lap down in that Lego car. Oh yeah, looks like he had a little issue there with the front. It's kind of struggling a little bit in that 45 car.
Yeah, and tires going off here at Zandvoort, and who could have seen that coming. Well, we could have, because it happens every week.
Yeah.
And I'm taking a look at Jason Trantham right now, sitting back in P15. Our hard charger right now, 9 positions up, and that always gets a shout out. That means he's driving mistake free, driving clean, and taking advantage of people who aren't. And with 9 positions, you know there's a couple of freebies in there. You also know there's some legit passes in there. So good work by Jason as you see that car wiggling all over the place. Take a look at Lopez being chased down by Bali. Bali likely to have a run here if he can hang in a couple more corners here, and they will rocket around. Oh, nope, I'm completely lost. We're on that back section where I keep wanting to see a pass happen, and it's not going to happen yet again. But looking at Labivi and Lopez now in a battle for P8, about a 3-second gap there, or 3/10.
Yep, 3/10 is Lopez is trying to close that and make it a little further, but it looks like it may be just a little bit of a mistake there going into the corner, maybe pushed out just a little bit. So lost a couple of tenths as Labivi's able to stretch that gap out. And with a little blink, that's never a good thing. If you're a car behind, you never want to see a car disappear and then come back. It's always kind of a little unnerving when you're in the middle of the race that starts happening. But he has closed it down. So he had a good run down into 11 and 12, was able to close that gap back down. And so now it's going through 13. See if there we go, wide there. I was going to say either one of those cars is going to go wide, and it was Lopez that time. So that really just kind of cut his run off. And now he's got a 1-second gap up to Labivi, and that's going to be he'll be able to make it down, make some of that back a little bit as we see De Silva slow, and that's because the race is over. Holy crap, where did the time go?
And folks, you'll never guess what happened. Stephen Case took the white flag and then the checker while we were blathering on there. So yeah, it is over. It's Case from Gregory from Mikovic is your podium here at Zandvoort. Oh, we got tied up in some action in the midfield, but the laps ticking by very quickly down here, and that 25 minutes also ticking by very quickly. Still some action on the track though. This is Conway trying to chase down Trantham and make up for his troubles early. Conway is down 4 and Trantham again. Our hard charger +9, and Trantham is going to hold on to that P15 as our last couple of cars coming through. But man, oh man, what an exciting race here at Zandvoort. These cars are great out here. If you have not tried one of these F3 cars, well, I would say I strongly recommend it, but a little bird told me that these F3 cars might be replaced in the very near future, so maybe you don't want to jump on them right now. What do you say, Charles?
Well, I was actually reading the iRacing forums again today, and there is a new Formula car coming. They have not specified what that new Formula car is, so the jury is out. There's a lot of opportunities for cars that have not made it into the service as of yet. So we'll keep our eyes out. We're coming up on the, as we end up this season, we'll be coming up on the new season build for iRacing, and we'll have a lot more information as that build gets closer.
All right. So it looks like we're very nearly complete here. We're going to have those final results up for you in a second. Taking a peek outside. Don't see anybody waiting yet, but I'm sure a line is going to be forming here shortly for some driver interviews, which we will bring you. And Mike, if I could just get you to go up to the top. There we go. So there are your race results. It is Stephen Case, your season leader, winning by a gaudy 8-second margin. Actually, there's a lot of big margins on this board. As tires went off toward the end of the race, things started getting squirrely, and those gaps started growing by leaps and bounds. But it is Case, Skylar Vicroy in P2, Mikovic picks up the P3, then it's Alex Velasco and Christopher Eggert rounding out your top 5. Tyrone De Silva in 6, Baborgi in 7, Daniel Labivi in 8, Lopez 9, Bali in 10 to round out the top 10. Then it will be Jason Cotcher, followed by Jose Navas, Rafael Cardenas, Dylan, our hard charger, Jason Trantham, and let me double check. Yep, up 9 for Trantham. Then Lloyd Conway, Ganesh, and Neil Day And who is that roasting off those rear tires? We'll get back to them in a second. But Justin Snyder will be in 19. Then it's Duvall, followed by Wang Corwin, who had a tough outing today. Jason Green as well, perpetual podium winner. Been more or less crashed out of this one, finished 6 laps down and finished in 23. Then Hagen, Brashear, Diego Posada, and Ken Glasser. And Brashear, Posada, and Glasser did not take the start. So let me just back out of that. They were not racing.
Yep.
And let's take a look. Just take a little peek outside. And yeah, I will go ahead and bring in Danush Poborji. Danush, great drive today. You got some fantastic screen time. You were involved in that train with Egert, De Silva, Mikovic, and Velasco for a good portion of that.
Yes.
Looks like Mikovic kind of got the jump on you and left you behind toward the end there, but looks like you had an exciting race. So how was it from your perspective?
It was good, very consistent up until I clipped the curb and then it half spun me. So was fighting for third or fourth with Kalen, and then that ended the fun. But it was good.
Yeah, you guys had a great thing going. You had 4 cars kind of separated by a little under 2 seconds and kept the battling going, kept it very interesting for a good stretch of that. So, yeah, I know you'll be checking out the broadcast later and enjoying your screen time. You were looking racy out there. And I was commenting that I bet Mikovic was happy when he finally put Velasco between the two of you, because he's been looking at you in his rearview mirror for probably 20 minutes out of the 25. So you guys had a great race out there, and looks like you qualified 7, finished 7, so that's consistent and great drive. So as we wrap up, is there anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to?
No, just everybody racing. Kalen, always good, wheel to wheel, very clean, always fun. That's about it. Thanks for the broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for putting on a fantastic show, and thanks for stopping by to say, hey, appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks. Bye.
All right, that was Danush Poborji. And Charles, it looks like I've got Adrian Lopez out here for you.
Yeah, let's bring Adrian in. Adrian, P9 up 5 positions from your start. So great run tonight. So talk about your race a little bit.
Yeah, ironically, it seems like the tracks I like less, I do better in. I was not anticipating a top 10 in this one. I've had a horrible season. But yeah, it was fun. A little hiccup at the beginning. Someone missed the start and had to watch Daniel to make sure I don't run into him. And then a little bit of a battle towards the middle and towards the end. Again with him. So it was pretty good, pretty clean, fun. Had fun on the back straight with like 4 of us all bunched up together or on the front straight. And yeah, it was just fairly smooth. I got a little bit too overzealous at the last turn of the last lap, trying to get a run on Daniel and overtake him at the end, but just missed the apex and ran out wide. So, you know, just take 9th and not give away that place to Varun.
Yeah, there you go. So that's sometimes that's what you have to do, is you have to play a little defense. So let's talk about, you said this was not necessarily your favorite track or one you're particularly good at. So talk a little bit about what you struggle with here at Zandvoort, because it's a very technical track. It's very flowy, and it's a rhythm track. So so what were you kind of struggling with as you were leading up to this race and during the race as well?
Yeah, it's more of like the consistency, lap to lap. Because of the flowy nature, if you ruin one turn, you're gonna kind of ruin the next few. So those inconsistencies are a bit amplified on a track like this. So you know, I was seeing my lap times range within a full like 1.5 seconds, which usually isn't a range that I operate in. So I knew my tiny mistakes were being amplified. And then as the race goes on with your tire deg, I was just having a hard time gauging how much further I can push the car with the loss of weight, so I can make up some time every lap. You know, because theoretically, you should get faster as you go, and then you
Yep.
kind of plateau. And I wasn't meeting where the limit was moving to. So I kind of just stayed a bit stagnant there. But yeah, I just try not to crash, try not to hit other people, and avoid accidents, because that just seems to be the theme of my season.
Yeah, understood. Well, Adrian, thanks for stopping in the booth, and we'll let you give any thanks or shout outs before we let you go, and you can get ready for next week.
Yeah, shout out to the guys for just keeping it a bit cleaner this time, and Daniel. I haven't had a good fight with Daniel in a really long time. I kind of miss it. And Varun catching up too. I need some more Daniels. I need some more battles with him as well. So just keeping it clean, improving as a whole unit. So shout out to the guys for that.
Awesome. Adrian, congratulations and on the top 10, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, hopefully I can do even a little bit better. Maybe put on a show.
That's it. All right, take care.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, that was Adrian Lopez. And last but certainly not least, let's bring in the cap, Jason Cotcher. Jason, interesting race out there today. I expected these cars to do pretty well on the Zandvoort course, and they did not disappoint. So how was the race from your perspective?
Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Appreciate slow motion broadcasting as always in the community. Thanks everybody for coming out. Challenging circuit. Just, I make fun of it. I'm not particularly good here. I don't have a lot of experience. I didn't get a lot of practice. It's kind of a collection of awkward corners, to be a little brutal on it. But I was okay. I didn't get the qualifying that I wanted. I think I was 15th. Had some great fights, fought with Tyler, fought with Adam, fought with Jose, always clean, always respectful with those guys. Really appreciated the fight, and ended up 11th, I think. So I got to take that as a W. I mean, at the end of qualifying, if you just said, hey man, you get a net code little 4X and you finished 11th in decent points, I would have taken that then, and I take it now. So worked out.
Excellent. And, this season, halfway through, this is week 7 of 12, and we have seen this racing get better and better and better. And I know that you had high hopes for this F3 season as you peeled off the pointy end of the F4 field and added another night here on SMB. So has this unfolded the way that you pictured, or has it just been better than you could have imagined?
Yeah, so much better. I mean, when you run leagues and you run a facility like this, I think the philosophy and the attitude kind of goes from the top down. It's great competition. It's super respectful, so much better than the average officials, and just a great collection of drivers. They hear me, they get it. I think everybody wants the clean, respectful racing that I want, and that makes it different than a lot of stuff out there, and so special. So yeah, super impressed always. You through some of these guys, I've mentioned it before, never sat in a sim rig before they got to the Sim Racers group a year or two ago, and they stuck with it, and they've built the skills, and we keep ratcheting it up the degree of difficulty. This thing is a beast on cold tires. We're kind of laughing in the Discord chat in practice of people just all over the map. But I don't know, sometimes it feels like the more concerned I am about a race, the better it goes. But just faith in the skill set and the philosophy and the attitude of the community is always awesome. Going well. Next week for the officials, it's the Nordschleife, the whole big green hell. But we are just going to run the Grand Prix circuit because we have guys here that don't have a rig from home and have lives like the rest of us. They can't be on it at midnight, racking up hours on the Nordschleife. So to throw them into something 17 miles around and 170 some corners, on 1 hour practice and expect them to have a fair shot at it as everybody else is just a little too crazy. So I've made one little adaptation to the schedule, but the GP course there is awesome, elevation, twisty, so looking forward to that. And then the tail end of the schedule is just a dream. Atlanta's pretty tough, but love Suzuka. Got Laguna's on there, Road America is on there, just some all-time classics coming. So I had Zandvoort kind of highlighted as a danger zone, maybe a drop week, but it never works out the way that you think it will. I was loving Sebring and ran into some misfortune there. I would have thought that was a slam dunk, and then here I'm nervous. I'm gonna die digitally, of course, but it all works out. So keeps you coming back. Fun to play video games with our friends, and you can never totally know what's gonna happen, but the skill set is there, the attitude is there, the respect is there, and it just makes for a great place to play. So grateful to those guys and girls all the time.
Thank you so much, Jason, as always, for coming by and chatting with us. And we will look forward to seeing you next week at NERB's Gay Paystraka.
Very good, my friends. Love SMB. Great job as always. We like to talk about how the skill of the drivers is improving, but if you guys have picked up familiarity with the people and the cars and the circuits, the SMB is getting better and better all the time too. So if you're hearing me and you got a league out there, you want to take it kind of out of the basement and onto the TVs, look up slow motion broadcasting. You know it, you love it, we love it. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you, and catch you next week.
All right. Thanks for the kind words, and peace out. All right. That was Jason Cotcher. And Charles, it looked like we had one other person kind of sneak his way into the waiting room, and that is your P2 finisher, Skylar Vicaroy.
Hey, Skylar. So congratulations on the P2. Great battle up front between you, Case, and Green there, and kind of ended in a little bit of tragedy. So if you want to kind of go through that, I'd love to hear your side of that.
Yeah, the side of it, it's more my fault than anything. We're close battling there with Jason. Came over the crest. He was a little off the line. I had let off. I mean, neither one of us was on the gas. I went back and reviewed it, and I just carried a bit more speed over that crest and just tapped the rear end. And unfortunately, it spun us both and ended a great race that we were having. So very unfortunate. Not something that I want to happen. I'm going to talk to Jason offline. I'm going to give him a minute to cool down, though, because I know when I'm feeling a certain way, I don't want anybody talking to me for a minute. So I'll probably shoot him a message here a little bit later tonight. Ruining a great race that he had. So it was tough, but it was great. I flubbed the start after getting pole. I've been nailing my starts all season, and then the one time I'm on pole, I started in second gear like a big dummy and that got out there. So I think if I could have got that start, Case might have had a little bit more fun back there with Jason, and maybe I would have held off Case just a little bit longer. But we're gonna start calling that guy inevitable. Because as soon as he's in your mirrors, you're just worried that he's gonna get by, and he is supreme on the brakes. He's even got to the point where he's helping me on the brakes. So you imagine the guy that's first in the championship is talking to the guy second championship, trying to make him faster. That's how much of an edge he has on me right now. So we'll improve. We'll work on racecraft, and we will bring it back next week for a little bit cleaner action.
There you go, and that's that's really good to hear. Love to hear drivers working together to make each other better. It's always great to hear. And but yeah, it seems like with the exception of the incident between you and Green, it was a very close battle between the three of you up front. So his seemingly dominance is cracking a little more every week. So that is something to be proud of on your part.
Yeah, it's tightening up. We've had this span of tracks that I really haven't raced on, and it kind of ends here. We're getting back to tracks I have a bit more experience on, so I'm hoping with more experience that I can bring the fight to Steven a little bit more as the season tapers off. He's got one hand on the championship trophy now, so I'm going to try to start pulling some fingers back here pretty soon. It's going to be tough, but we'll give it the best shot that we can. That's for sure.
Yeah, so talking about the upcoming tracks, Nürburgring GP circuit next week. It's one of my favorites. Is it one that you logged a few laps on with the F3 car?
Not so much the F3, but in other cars, I know my way around the track. The F3 is quick to adapt there. The track is great for downforce cars. Makes sense because it was a former F1 track.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely looking forward to getting around there, but practice is needed. And then we hit the stretch of tracks I'm very familiar with Road Atlanta, Laguna, and Road America.
Yeah, obviously it's a great stretch coming up. So we're going to look forward to seeing the action. So Skylar, thanks for stopping in. Congrats on the P2. We'll let you give any thanks or shout outs before you head on your way.
Absolutely. Thanks, fellas. Great job in the broadcast, as always. I'm looking forward to going and watching this one, as I always do. So the crew there, SMB, definitely knows what they're doing. Shout out to Jason and SRG and putting on this whole event. Shout out to my Ava Boom Gaming boys. And shout out to my boys out there in Michigan supporting here, Dave and Scott. So thank you all. I'll see you next week. And again, we'll try to get one more step further on the podium.
There you go, Scholar. Thanks again, and congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
All right, and that was Skylar Vickroy picking up his 5th podium of the season. A little unfortunate contact there down the stretch. You heard his apology. Sent Green to the pits after a pitch battle, but it was good, hard, and clean racing from where I was sitting, and a great show as always. And these races keep getting better. And folks, we are not just about these fantastic F3 cars here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. We are going to bring it almost every night of the week. Our next big event, Saturday, Weekend Warrior Formula Vs, will appear at Long Beach. Then we'll bring you Braun's Race Nights. We'll cover the iRacing official top split action with street stocks at Lanier. Then Sunday, a Weekend Warriors double feature. Spec Racer Fords will throw down at Sebring, and Formula Fords will battle at Long Beach. And next Tuesday, the SRG F4 racers will be here on my home turf, Portland International Raceway. And as we said, 1 week from tonight, we'll be back here with the F3s at Nürburgring Grand Prix Strecke. And I just wanted to mention as well, August 9th, the USRA Sizzlin' Sebring 180. That's GT3 LMP2 endurance race, live stewarding, cash prizes, and lots of good action. And make sure that you are here for that. In fact, go ahead and subscribe to Slow Motion Broadcasting and hit that notification icon so that you do not miss any of the action. And whoo-wee, Zandvoort Week 7. That was fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. I am JR Gregory. On behalf of myself, my partner Charles Boshell, our producer Mike Braun, and everyone here at SMB, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, and hang on, baby. The weekend's coming.